Guess who's Bizak? You still smell a crack in my clothes. Don't make me have to relapse on these hoes. Take it back out, they're taxing the road when I was hugging it.
Guess who's back? I'm excited to be back on the YouTube platform. I know a lot of you have been very patient with me. Yes, I'm back. Let's take a look. We're going to start this off with a Pop the Cherry series with a brand of Molinard, a brand that's kind of underground in our YouTube fragrance community, but this brand just been pop up in the past few years. This is a brand that's been established since 1849. Very much a rich history to this brand. However, YouTube community in the past few years just finally discovered this brand. Now we're finally getting some videos out. I know that Sebastian, a YouTuber that I highly respect, and Ashton Jensense, among others. But those two noses, I believe, their channel is built kind of like mine. They'll talk about, you know, high-end designers and things like that, niche, but they pride themselves on unearthing brands and fragrances that not a lot of people talk about, and this is one of those brands. So I certainly appreciate those two gentlemen, among others. There's other YouTube reviewers that have talked about Molinard. I spoke about Molinard about their fig-based scent, and I absolutely loved it, so I purchased their leather-based fragrance here called Cuir. So it's time to spotlight Cuir. I'm going to let you guys know with Pop the Cherry how I felt about this release. Let's get into this video right now. Fragrance family, welcome to another episode of Pop the Cherry. This is where I pop the cork on a fragrance and give you my first real test on skin and let you guys know what I felt about this fragrance. As an initial impression, I've worn this fragrance right here as my scent of the day today. I'm going to inform you how it went, good, bad, and the ugly about this fragrance. If I got any positives or negatives, usually I'm on both sides, and let you know how excited I am on testing this particular fragrance today. As the title suggests, you've already clicked on it. It is from the brand of Molinard, which is not really known in our YouTube fragrance community, so I'm always excited to let you guys know about a brand that you may not know about, but this is their leather-based fragrance. I love leather-based fragrances. I can do like a top 50 leather-based fragrances easy in my sleep, but I love them. And this one called Cuir. It's an EDP also, so I want to see how much power I can get out of this leather-based fragrance. So let's take a look under the hood before I start explaining what the fragrance gave me on my first try. So release date of this fragrance, it's not that new, 2015 release. Nose behind this is Thomas Fontaine. Thomas Fontaine's resume, very interesting. He is the man that actually brought back Jean Patou. Jean Patou as a brand was really highly regarded, especially with fragrance heads like myself. We really wanted to discover the brand, discontinued, things like that. So he brought them back recently with new releases or re-releasing old releases, and many Lubin scents too. So another brand that is kind of under the radar too. How I got my hands on Cuir, obviously my partner in crime, FragranceX.com. You can utilize my code ROBES08 on FragranceX and get 15% off on any of your purchases, as small or as big as you'd like to do. I certainly appreciate you guys going on FragranceX.com. So thank you, FragranceX, for the bottle of Cuir by Molinard. Now, the major notes in this fragrance, to my nose, were leather, saffron, and oud. So this is going to be a dark one. Let's get into testing. So up top in the opening, let's remind myself of this introduction. I am wearing it as my scent of the day. Actually, the dry down's right here. I might actually spray the back of this hand because my sweater is covering this arm. So let's get into the introduction, the opening of this one. And the first thing that hits my nose with Cuir is not leather, actually. It was really a spicy concoction. I was like, whoa, the spices are really amped up in this opening. So you're gonna get hit with some nutmeg, some pimento, and some saffron. Really a spicy affair. There is some leathery aspects to this opening, and there's some ambery aspects. So very dark, but mostly spices that hit my nose. There's some sweetness here, there's some smoke, but mainly spice. The spices took over the scent immediately. It's very warming. The red pimento does its thing here. Really a nice touch with the pimento. The leather itself is a soft leathery touch. I think it's gonna darken a bit once it gets onto my skin a little bit more. So it's gonna give you that like that smoky leathery appeal to a scent that a lot of leather-based scents have. But mostly my nose was gravitating towards the spices up top. If you've ever smelled this fragrance, you'll know what I mean. It's really a lot of spices. It kind of reminds me of the spices utilized in Burberry London, things like that. It has like a really warming, but also festive feel to the scent at some times. Very much a nutmeg heavy. So that kind of reminds you of a festive type feel. In the opening, it does have a touch of that Burberry London type feel, which is not a bad thing. Obviously, Burberry London is very much cheaper than this scent, and this is not very expensive, by the way, as far as a niche quality scent. It has a little bit of citrus that I felt had a little bit of a citric acid to the top of this fragrance, but more of an Earl Grey like bergamot, with of course that nutmeg feel, a little bit of a leathery smoky feel, an ambery feel than anything really bright here. So really interesting, almost kind of festive, like Burberry London-ish. Now more into the dry down. The dry down of this fragrance fades. It really does fade a bit here. It shows a softer side of Cuir. So the leather in here wasn't really rough and tumble. You're not going to get a huge leather-based scent here. It is a big part of the scent, but at the same time, it's a softer appeal to the scent. So it shows softer notes in the dry down like lily. So lily throws off a little bit of a powdery aspect in this scent. There's lavender also in this fragrance, and a little bit of roughness to it. So the leather, the oud, amber, and the patchouli. So it has some darkness to the fragrance, and the remaining spices kind of take more of a back seat. It kind of almost really mellows out to more of a complete scent than just a lot of spices up top. So it really does, really mellows out more into the dry down. Some call this fragrance an animalic leather. The leather in here, animalic. I don't know about that. This one is more of, I wouldn't call it rough and tumble leather, because I really do feel a lot of fragrances out there really show the roughness of a leather. This really isn't that. It has a little bit of a smoky quality to the scent, almost reminisce of a smoky incense or a smoky tobacco type feel than more of a really smoky scent. So overall, I felt like this scent is well balanced. It kept my attention all day. I really liked the balance of it. It was much louder up top with the spices. It really hit your nose, like it punched it. And you're like, this is a leather-based scent and more of a spicy scent. But the leather is a main factor throughout the scent while the spices start mellowing out. So overall, very good blend in Cuir from Molinard. Now let's get into the revolver seasons, day or night, versatility, projection, longevity. Let's get into all those details. So seasons. I think this is definitely geared more towards the cooler seasons, fall and winter. I feel like fall is best for this one. It really reminds me a lot like when I would utilize like a Gucci Put On One, Burberry London, a Dirty English. Fragrances like that really don't have too much push to them. I really feel like this one is right up that alley, more fall around Thanksgiving. Day or night, I feel like this is more of a nighttime scent. It has a lot more personality than something that you would wear daily. I can wear it casually daily and then more casually at night too. Versatility is fairly average, right? I wouldn't wear this with the tux. I wouldn't, dress this one up. This is more of a casual scent than anything, but that versatility, depending on what you wear and what you do on a day-to-day basis, this one could get a lot of wear or not so much. Projection, fairly average on this one. It did not go full throttle like a lot of leathers do. So if you're looking for big punching leather-based scent, this may not be up your alley. This is more about really artistic because it utilizes a lot of spices and it really shows you a lot of facets, and the leather is central. However, it really isn't one of those that if I had to recommend someone a leather-based scent, and they really want a big punching leather, this would probably be left off the list. And that goes to longevity. How long does this thing last? Well, 6 to 8 hours was the norm from, again, my initial testing on this one. It has good lasting power. I wouldn't say beast per se, but 6 to 8 hours on this one. So overall thoughts on Cuir by Molinard. Overall, the scent versus what the price is on this one impressed me. Just like the Fig release from the same brand, this retails for around $50 to $70, which is on a low-end designer, right? You can get some Cartier fragrances, you can get, you know, Yves Saint Laurent's even maybe a little too much for that. You got, you know, Dolce & Gabbana, things like that. This is on the lower end that you can find at discounters, $50 to $70, a really good deal for what you get here. From what I smelled, this has complexity to it. It kept me entertained, which I absolutely love. Cuir is not just a leather, as many other, has many other facets than just the leather. Like I said, spices up top give some edge to the fragrance right out of the gate, but the softer tones like citruses, florals, they're going to be there. So it kept me entertained, and secondary notes really gave Cuir a good mix of notes in the particular fragrance. I rather enjoyed my first take on this. Just like the Fig, it's nothing that will blow my mind, but I felt it's very solid. With an oversaturated leather game out there, I feel like this one does well. I think it's definitely worth a sniff, at least, if it interests you. So I'd like to hear your take on this one. Have you smelt Cuir from Molinard? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've smelt anything from Molinard, right? I've only smelt the Fig and the Cuir, which is the two that I purchased. I never really sampled from this brand, but anything else, with especially the purple bottles, there's a patchouli one that I really feel intrigued with it. Maybe let me know what you guys think in the comments below if I should get another one from Molinard. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button. I certainly appreciate that. Subscribe if you haven't. And if you are subscribed, hit that bell too. Are you part of my notification gang yet? If you already checked me out, I am on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under Robes08. You can find my pages. I have pictures. I work on, of course, Facebook to keep people up to date on what I'm working on my YouTube channel. I do have a Facebook group called Fragrance Guru Nation, where myself and I believe we're up to 16,500 other scent heads. We discuss fragrances, we talk about reviews and new releases. People buy and sell on there, so definitely come join us today on Facebook if you got a Facebook account. Now, I'm gonna leave you with a few takes on social media. I did ask on Twitter, on Instagram, and of course on Facebook what people thought about this fragrance, and there's going to be different thoughts than just my own on this video on the back end. So I certainly appreciate everybody that is checking out this video and helped me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you so much for your take on this scent. It will help someone thinking of pulling the trigger perhaps. Your take is certainly appreciated. As always, a greater pour fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your leather-based scent wisely. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a good one.